So, I've been complaining a fair amount about Sony lately, particularly in regards to their decision to close a bunch of their digital storefronts later this year. And today, they did a bit of backtracking. They did a lot of backtracking, in fact, on that announcement. President and CEO Jim Ryan, who is just so popular with the Sony PlayStation fans these days, everyone loves this guy, put out a letter stating, quote, "Recently, we notified players that PlayStation Store for PS3 and PS Vita devices was planned to end this summer. Upon further reflection, however, it is clear that we made the wrong decision here. So today, I'm happy to say that we will be keeping the PlayStation Store operational for PS3 and PS Vita devices. PSP commerce functionality will retire on July 2nd, 2021, as planned." When we initially came to the decision to end purchasing support for PS3 and PS Vita, it was born out of a number of factors, including commerce support challenges for older devices and the ability for us to focus more of our resources on newer devices where a majority of our gamers are playing on. We see now that many of you are incredibly passionate about being able to continue purchasing classic games on PS3 and PS Vita for the foreseeable future, so I'm glad we were able to find a solution to continue operations. I'm glad that we can keep this piece of our history alive for gamers while we continue to create cutting-edge new game worlds for PS4, PS5, and the next generation of VR. Thank you for sharing your feedback with us. We're always listening and appreciate the support from our PlayStation community. Number one, I've always got to say it, bitching. It works, guys. There's always a segment of the gaming community when we're in these situations who are like, oh, what's the use of complaining? They already made the decision. You're not going to change anything. And then change comes and those people go into hiding, waiting for their next opportunity to tell people, there's no use in complaining. This is yet another issue where you could never convince me that it wasn't 100% because of backlash that this decision was made, that it was reversed. It was only a couple weeks ago that they even made this announcement. Now they're totally walking it back. This is why we cause a ruckus, because these things can be changed. They even state in the letter, thank you for your feedback, directly referring to what fans were saying about the decision. Now, obviously, while this is a big dub for PS3 and Vita digital stores, as we also learned, PSP did not fare so well. That system is going to have its storefront closed. This system that released in early 2005, I think it was, at least here in the States, is having its store closed down on July 2nd, 2021. Something like 16 years and change, and it's gone. Even with this victory for the other stores, this is still very much a cautionary tale about digital games, just not as impactful as it once was. And yeah, the PS3 and Vita were the systems that people were more preoccupied with, but that doesn't mean we should just ignore that things are going to proceed as planned with the PSP. You're not going to be able to make any new digital purchases on that system, no more adding to your library, anything like that, after July 2nd. And in terms of this PS3 and Vita victory, this is just one battle in a greater war. I have no doubt that Sony will be trying to come back around to this sometime in the future, might be a few years from now, but if they tried it once, you can bet your ass they'll try it again when they think enough time has passed that now they can get away with it. And remember, my main concern, most people's main concern with digital games, isn't necessarily this situation where people just aren't allowed to buy any new games on these systems anymore, but the real thing we worry about is when these services are completely taken down and you can't even download the games you bought anymore. And these store closures seem like a big step in that direction. Like, it makes sense, as Nintendo did with the Wii, that the rollout goes, first you stop allowing new purchases, and then you proceed to not let people download the games anymore. Because a lot of people, of course, get caught up just in the fact that it's about new purchases and want to act like, oh, it doesn't mean anything, it's no big deal. But we've already seen things play out where this is step one. You know, that's another thing that irritates me. People want to wait till, like, everything's being taken away from them, and then it's like, then you start a ruckus. But until these companies are taking all of your games away from you, don't say anything, don't infer anything. Like, shut up. They state, even in that letter, Ryan talks about, you know, pulling resources from these stores to put on, you know, current systems. How much could it really cost them to keep up the Vita store? And then how much does it cost to keep the services up to allow people to still download the games? Like, how much of a difference could that be? If they're so desperate to cut costs, it makes sense that they'd proceed to take down all the online services for these systems. And even in that regard, this decision to not close down the PS3 and Vita stores will at least prolong things. They're not going to, you know, cut off your access to downloading these games before they stop letting you buy them. So at the very least, we've bought a lot of time here. And I will say hats off to Sony for listening to the fan feedback in this case and making the right decision in the end. But honestly, you really are doing the bare minimum here in terms of preservation. Like, are we really supposed to cheer for Sony because, oh, they're letting us still buy games on these old systems? As I've discussed before, you know, you've got your competition in the Xbox over here letting people play many of their old games from the 360 and even original Xbox era on their current system, the Series X, both digital games and via the physical discs. Like, if you want to really impress people, you should be working on a way to actually compete with your competition here. Because right now, when it comes to, you know, classic games, preservation, Sony, in my opinion, isn't even in the same stratosphere as Xbox. They're just nowhere near it. And personally, I'd love to be able to play upscaled PS1, 2, and 3 games through emulation on the PS5. Actually, you know, on the console, none of that streaming bullshit they want to peddle. And I mean, as if the PS5 isn't powerful enough to emulate PS2 games. You know, I think it'd be great if you could tell people, you know, if they bought these games digitally on any of your various storefronts. I know some of, like, the PS1 games were on, like, the PSP. It'd be awesome if you told people, hey, whatever you bought those games on before, you can play them now on the PS5. That'd be amazing. So yeah, if you want some real praise, I'd work on actually building some positivity from this and embrace people's desire to have access to these classic games on their current hardware. But still, even though this recent decision just brings us back to where we were, you know, a few weeks ago before the closure announcement, it's great to see Sony actually listening to the fans and making the right choice here. Maybe they should also do a little bit more of that. Maybe listen to people, what they have to say about, you know, recent censorship choices and stuff like that. But hey, this is Sony. We can't expect them to do more than the bare minimum, right? Anyway, with that, this video's a wrap. Let me know your thoughts on Sony backtracking on these store closures in the comments. Are you happy to see the PS3 and Vita stores remain open? And are you still worried that they'll come back around for them in the future? As always, I'm the Shy Guy, Johnny Zakari, and thanks for watching.